especially in New York City, we're constantly on defense. If we're out, we're in the subway, we're walking on the street, we're extremely alert. And then people come in and you can see them just relax. Somebody came in one time and she just immediately started crying. I was like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And she was like, "I just haven't felt this safe in such a long time." And that to me is everything.
That was Coreen Ruiz, founder of Inner Pttrn, and this is Epicenter NYC. We connect our communities to news, information, and each other. I'm your host, Amber Castillo. What does it mean to truly heal? Beyond talk therapy and surface-level self-care, how do we break free from inherited patterns and reconnect with our authentic selves? These are the questions at the heart of Inner Pttrn, a collective dedicated to deep transformative healing through embodied movement, ritual, and community support. Inner Pttrn was founded by Coreen Ruiz, a first-generation Mexican-American and former corporate professional, whose own experience with burnout and chronic health issues led her to explore alternative healing practices. But what started as a personal journey evolved into a thriving community space for those looking for deep transformation. Today, I sit down with Coreen to learn more about her experience building a mission-driven business, the challenges of making healing accessible, and the power of reclaiming ancestral knowledge. Before we jump in, a quick message from our team.
Hi, I'm Mariana from the Epicenter NYC team, and I have an important health question. Have you experienced unexpected brain fog, fatigue, or mood changes? These may be symptoms of long COVID. Most people who have COVID-19 completely recover, but some have lasting symptoms and health problems. If you need more information about what this means, we can help. Long COVID is real. You can stay protected by keeping up to date with your vaccines. Don't let COVID derail your health. Schedule your appointment today. Send us a note at hello@epicenter-nyc.com or call or text us at 917-818-2690.
Now back to the show. Here's my conversation with Coreen.
Hi, my name is Coreen Ruiz. I am the founder of Inner Pttrn, a collective for cycle breakers. So we offer holistic healing modalities through ancestral healing, movement, and embodied movement. So we offer virtual courses as well as in-person one-on-one classes and services, all for helping our community through liberation work, which essentially means breaking generational cycles, breaking through patterns, and truly finding our authentic selves so that we can create from a better place and also so that we can have more healthier and fulfilling lives.
Can you tell me what makes Inner Pttrn special or maybe different from what's out there?
Yeah. So I remember when I was deep in my healing process, I was so much looking for connection, for support on a deeper level. I had talked to many therapists and coaches. And as much as I enjoyed that process, I feel like there was only so much that we could get to. And then at some point, we were just talking over and over and over again about the same traumatic experiences. And I was like, okay, this is helping to a certain extent, but I'm not really making the changes that I need to make. So I was doing a lot of personal healing and growth during that time. And I really just wanted to be with other people and other women who were going through the same thing and supporting each other in that way. I feel like a lot like our friends, we try to help each other out, but if we're all going through the same thing, then we're still repeating those same toxic cycles. So that's really how I started Inner Pttrn. I wanted to really connect with women who were doing that deep healing work and finding ways to support each other through that. And I've been so blessed through Inner Pttrn, where now I started off by myself. Now I have a team of 6 who we all are deep in the trenches doing the work, and we support each other. And it's just such a beautiful experience. So for me, that's what Inner Pttrn at its core is: a community space where we're safe, where we can really dive into the meanings of generational trauma, of how that affects us in current day society, and how we support each other in fulfilling and coming over that.
Could you tell me what makes this community and, this space that you've created different from maybe others that are out there?
I think what makes us unique is we're a team of Latina women, all from different backgrounds, lifestyles, cultures, but we have one common goal of helping each other break generational cycles, no matter where they come from or how they present.
And can you tell me more about how you got interested in this area? I know you said, you were looking for that kind of way to heal yourself.
No, yeah. So I around 2019 had been dealing with a lot of health issues, and in the bigger picture, I was at the height of my career. I was in a high-paying salary job, traveling the world doing what I loved to do, and in a relationship. So like from the outside looking in, it looked like I was on the right path, doing all the right things, and yet I was so unhappy. I was extremely sick, and I think I just kept living that lifestyle until I ended up in the hospital. And I thought I was like having a heart attack, which it turned out to just be anxiety. Not just anxiety. Anxiety is a big, big thing to deal with. But at the time, I wouldn't even have identified as somebody who had anxiety. So it was a big moment where I needed to take a step back and realize that I was in an unfulfilled relationship. I was unhappy. And I was in a toxic work environment where we were taught that, oh, this is just how it is and you just have to deal with it. And I've never been one who accepts those things. Like when people are like, that's just how it is. I'm like, but why? And we're all just okay with this? Like I have some questions. But I was suppressed a lot of times, especially because I wasn't in like those higher positions to make the decisions that, they were making. So long story short, I ended up quitting my job. I left my relationship and I was in such an interesting point of my life where for the first time I was like, oh, I can take control and make it what I want it to be. Like, this is interesting, right? So like the wheels started clicking and then the pandemic happened. And I was like, okay, now what? I had found a new job, but then I got laid off. So for the first time, I had time to really sit with myself. And all of the thoughts started creeping in, all of the suppressed feelings that, we had suppressed from drinking, from smoking, from partying, from working. And we were silent for months. There was nothing for me to do. And that's when I really started taking a look at my life on that bigger picture and started going to doctors to try to figure out what was going on with my personal health. And I had a really terrible, not terrible experiences, but bad enough where I was like, these doctors are not helping me. Some of them were rolling their eyes at me. And I was just like, what is going on? I am just trying to feel better. And so I was extremely frustrated and started looking for alternative routes. And that's really when I started finding holistic medicine. I found naturopathic doctors. And I come from a family who, like, my mom loves Western medicine. She is big. She's like, take an ibuprofen, it's the miracle drug. And I'm just like, okay, so I came from that and I had a really hard time understanding, finding the root problems to things. But when I started doing that work, I was like, this is everything. It's everything. And it took a long time. And I think that's a lot part of the reason why most people don't really dive into that work. It's because we need to address real things within ourselves, right? So I did, and I started the process. And I mean, healing is a never ending process. So we're never going to, it's not one day I'm just going to wake up and I'm perfectly healed. But I think for me, it was about finding all of the tools that actually help me. And through all of that, I found that my hormones were completely out of balance. I hadn't been ovulating for years. And I was like 20, in my mid 20s at this point. I also had parasites that had gone undiagnosed for years. So it was all of these issues. And finally, I had answers and I had more holistic ways to approach that. So that was like the big thing that really caused me to dive into this work. I started studying herbal medicine, and then it slowly led me down this path.
When did you decide you were going to delve into this as a business and as a community in your journey?
So I had known, I've always known that I wanted to start my own business. I just have had that passion for a long time. And in between, while I was studying herbalism, I was also working a corporate job, which I had eventually gotten laid off from. So I got laid off January 2023. That was like a big pivotal point for me where I was like, I can't go back to corporate. I don't enjoy it. We're working 14 plus hours a day. It's exhausting. These companies just, keep dumping more work on us. It wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to live anymore. But I also didn't really know how to start. It's a big scary thing, to go from having a salary to having a self-funded business. So I sat with it for a bit. I was kind of reaching out, trying to see if I was going to find another job. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. We're going to see what happens. And I think like that's what is so wild about entrepreneurship is that when we go into it, we just need to accept that whatever it's going to be is what it's going to be. And just because the original idea isn't the end goal doesn't mean that we can't get there, right? Like we started off with the idea of a menstrual kit. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. Like people need this. And now we don't even sell products. So it's just been such a cool process as I think like it's gone it's gone along with my own healing process where again when I started I was like I just want to help people. I want people to feel good and safe and happy. And now I'm like we're breaking generational cycles, we're leaving trauma behind, we're becoming our authentic selves. And I think I needed to have this time in between to build myself to get here.
So when you first started the business, what were the greatest challenges you guys faced?
I would say, I think marketing and having the community understand exactly what we do. I also think finding the correct community to do it with was a bit of a challenge. I think the work that we do is so deep that a lot of people are not exactly ready for it, and we're asking people to really change their lives. And that means having to change the way that they act on a daily basis. So I think that was a bit of a challenge is kind of showing the community why they need it. And I feel like that's why we're making the pivots and the changes that we're making is because we know that our people are out there and that they're already looking for us. So instead of trying to tell people like, you need this, we're letting the people come to us now.
Yeah. And when you say our people or you speak about community, how would you define that?
All are welcome to join the Inner Pttrn community. As a Latina myself, I'm a Mexican American background. I, really want to support our Latina women, the whole entire BIPOC community, I think as a whole. But we, do not turn anyone away. If you are being called to heal on a deeper level, we are here for it.
What would you say being a small business owner means to you?
Be authentic with myself and my goals as a person. But also I feel the responsibility to be aware of what's going on in the world on a bigger picture. For example, we recently decided to close our Instagram account in solidarity with some of the protests that are going against Meta right now and Facebook and Instagram. And, like on one side, as a business owner, I think it's easy to get caught up in the day to day. And it's like, well, it's just Instagram. It's a tool that we need. It's easy to say, like, it's a necessary evil. But as a leader, I need to be real with myself and with our company values and stand up and say, you know what? It's not aligned with us anymore. This is not the path that I want to take. And we're working so hard on our marketing, on our strategy, on connecting with community. But really, all of that money is going to somebody that does not align with us and our goals. So I think I really take my role as a small business owner seriously. And it's not just about me making money and putting it in my pocket at the end of the day. I really want to make a difference on a bigger scale.
What brings you the most joy in your business?
I think like when I see people come in and you can see, especially in New York City, we're constantly on defense. If we're out, we're in the subway, we're walking on the street, we're extremely alert and aware of what's going on. And then people come in and you can see them just relax and just feel like, oh, I am safe. Somebody came in one time and she just immediately started crying. I was like, are you okay? What's going on? And she was like, I just haven't felt this safe in such a long time. And that to me is everything.
Are there certain aspects of the space or, either in terms of aesthetics or how you interact with people that you think, or the structure that you think contributes to that feeling of safety?
We have one of our products that our practitioner Maria makes. It's called the Aura Cleanse Spray. And it's like a beautiful blend that comes from her grandmother, who was a Cuban herbalist. So I don't even know what's in it, but we really try to use scents. We use frankincense as well and different essential oils to help create more of a sensorial experience. I think like healing can happen on so many different levels. So we use crystals, we use incense, smells, oils, and then as I'm a Libra rising, if my astrology girlies know, I am huge on aesthetic. So we use a lot of like calming colors, blue. We have like this huge blue wall that's like the color of the ocean. So I like to bring in different materials to support all of that healing.
Great. What's the need you feel in the community?
We're just like an amazing safe space where people can come in and be their authentic selves. I don't think there's many places that you can do that.
And what are the challenges you currently have? I know you were speaking about like at the beginning, like the marketing and sustainability. Could you speak to how much those or other challenges still play in?
Yeah, I think in general, financing as a small business is always extremely tough, especially as women of color. We don't have as much access to those grants and that funding as other people do. As a full-time entrepreneur, I have had a hard time getting loans, getting real funding because they're like, well, you're not really making any money. I'm like, okay, but all the money's in the business, you know? So that has been an unfortunate reality that we have to deal with. And it's frustrating, because if we were in a different position, or maybe if I was white, it would be a different conversation. If we had generational wealth, it would be a different conversation. So that is always a bit of a tough thing to deal with, of course. But I think I've learned so much through all of that. And that's also why we're pivoting away from having a location. I think that's like a social norm. Like a company has a place that you go to and it's understandable. But we're trying to build something that's just different from that now. And it's okay that we don't have an Instagram and we don't have a location. I'm like, there's so many ways that people can find us. And I think I'm trying to find the power in that instead of seeing them as the challenges.
What are some of those future plans or vision you have for the business?
So we're actually starting a course. It's called Wisdom of the First Nations, being led by an Indigenous grandmother, Nancy. She is coming and joining us, and it's really one of like the first of its kind. So I'm so excited to have her. It's been like a year in the progress, and the class starts actually this Wednesday, January 22nd. It's an ongoing and online course where we're really going to dive into one, like the reality of what happened, the stories of how we got to this place, how like the Papal Bull, the 1493, all of the details of the Indigenous history. But then also we're going to talk about the ceremonies and the rituals and the lifestyle that we can actually have, because as Latinos, we also stem from that. And I think it's easy to forget that because of colonialism. But for me, that's the direction that we're going with Inner Pttrn. We're really going to dive into the education and get back to our core roots.
Is there an experience or a moment that was particularly powerful in your space or in your business where you felt like you were really helping someone or creating that space where you really felt like, okay, this is my purpose?
Yeah, I remember. So I'm also a Reiki practitioner. Reiki is really my main focus and practice at Inner Pattern. Even just that experience, when I became Reiki, I was like, oh, this is my path. And then we started hosting Reiki circles and different meditation events. So there was this one point where I was leading the entire group in a meditation, and I saw somebody just like having a full experience. She was crying, she was shaking a little bit, and I was like, okay. So I went over and I, just like put my hands on her, and in my head I just kept repeating like, you're safe, everything's okay, like whatever you need. And when she woke up from that after, she like gave me a huge hug, and she was like, as soon as you put your hands on me, I felt like I was safe. And I was like, I love that so much. And she reached out after and she was like, I cannot thank you enough. Like, it was such a beautiful experience. She also she won a scholarship to that event. And so it was like such a beautiful experience. She was like, I was just meant to be here. And because even though I couldn't afford it, you found a way for me to be able to participate. And then my life changed from it. So it's just like, it's so powerful.
Well, you've offered scholarships to attend some of these sessions.
We do. Yeah. I think accessibility is so, so important. Wellness has turned into such a luxury for people. And especially because we don't accept insurance through medical insurance because of all of the bureaucracy, it can be really expensive. And I just like don't believe that that should be the case. So we always try to offer scholarships whenever we can for our events and classes.
Got it. How large is your team now?
Right now, we have, including myself, a team of 7.
Got it. And all practitioners in different ways.
Yeah. So I offer Reiki and intuitive energy healing. Maria does as well. We have a different style. So we like to offer both. Patricia offers flower essences and pull for the soul. Irene does ancestral readings. And then Brenda does astrology and tarot.
Great.
And Kathy, oh my God, Thai body work. I can't forget that.
Yeah. And we always ask small business owners this, but what advice do you have for other small business owners or aspiring solopreneurs?
I would say really like stick with what is in your heart. I think it can be really easy to get caught up with what other people are doing. And, like how I was saying earlier about needing Instagram, needing Facebook, needing to be a part of all of these things. If it's not aligned with you, then that is more than okay. And, there's so many other ways and paths. And just because things have been presented one way doesn't mean that's how we need to do it.
How can folks connect with you guys?
So our website is the best way. It's innerpttrn.com. And we also have a newsletter. We're starting a blog this month. So tons of fun ways to connect with us.
You can visit innerpttrn.com, innerpttrn.com to explore their holistic healing services, virtual offerings, and a variety of community events designed to support your well-being. They've got a full moon circle coming up on Wednesday, February 12th at the Inner Pttrn Apothecary and Boutique in Astoria. Led by La Bruja Brenda, the gathering will harness the powerful energy of the full moon eclipse for deep release and transformation. Space is limited, so make sure to reserve your spot by clicking the link in our show notes. Lastly, if you know of a local business that you think Epicenter should feature, let us know. Drop us a note at hello@epicenter-nyc.com. That's all for today. Thanks for listening and thanks for supporting us as we do our best to support our community. We couldn't do it without you. For more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at epicenter-nyc.com. Our intro music is All the Pretty Horses by Karavika. You can find more of their music on their website, linked to in our podcast description.